Okay, so I want to talk about set theory and God, and talk a little bit about something that I call the God set. Well, I took a philosophy of religion class a few years ago when I was in college. Um, basically what you would talk about in a philosophy of religion class is about God's nature. And I read a book called um, "Does God Have a Nature" by Alvin Plantinga, and that book made me think about God a lot. It really is a great book. I think it is just a great book if you're thinking about philosophy of um, religion, and it led me kind of think about the God set. I've been thinking a lot about set theory, and thinking about set theory has kind of brought me back to thinking about the God set as I did a few years ago. And it's as of course you know, set theory is normally used to talk about things in a you know normally having to do with philosophy of mathematics, and it has been used in the philosophy of mathematics to show in the logicist argument that mathematical objects are reducible to logical objects. So in a way, set theory is a bit of a middle ground between mathematics and logic. And it has been used to sort of take mathematics and like translate it into set theory. Takes set theory, translate it into just pure logic, and sort of try to show how mathematics literally is logic via that whole thing. And Bertrand Russell and Alfred North Whitehead in Principia Mathematica tried to show, give a foundation to a number by doing that, and tried to show how, pretty much just how mathematical objects are reducible to logical objects, and how mathematical concepts are reducible to um, logical concepts. But what does this have to do with God? When I think about God, I think about a omniscient, omnibenevolent, um, and omnipresent, all powerful, present, all present, all good, all knowing, all powerful. And um, normally I think about things into sets. I'm been thinking a lot about set theoretic realism, and it has brought me back to the God set. In that, the God set pretty much is as follows. The God set is, and I didn't read this out of Plantinga. This is something that I just kind of thought about. I don't know if somebody else has published anything about this. But the God set is, say, the set alpha, uppercase Greek letter A. The set alpha, which includes everything. It includes all things, and we almost have a set hierarchy where the God set is what includes all the other subsets and sets, and we have sets that are upper in the hierarchy that include a lot of different things. So we have the God set up here. We have almost like a hierarchy of sets. But what I'm mainly concerned with is the God set, in that God is a being, a divine being who knows all things and is all powerful, can do all things, is all good. All good. I don't know. I don't see how I could translate into a set, and into a set. But the God set is one that includes all things. A set is a set that includes all things in the world, um, and it's kind of interesting to think about. And lately, I've been kind of sort of mapping out a set theoretical system. It is mainly theoretic, but it is a logical system. As for translating, from English to logic. In this way, we can talk about a multiplicity of things at once. Or talk about different planes of things at once. Um, but still having, a short logical sentence or a certain sentence. So it's almost, I don't want to go into too big of detail about that, about my system I've been kind of doing, but it is kind of something about that. The God set is one that um, we could find everything in it, really. And so, I mean, I guess I've been thinking about that a lot. And if there were no God, how would we translate the God set into a more level? I think that if we didn't have a God set, the hierarchy of sets would not dissipate. It would probably level out. It would probably level out a bit more, where everything would sort of, instead of being in part of this big one thing, things would sort of like, and talking about things in terms of sets, things would sort of level out. And, things would be, we would have subsets only if it's truly included in that. However, something like, um, unless we were trying to, include a logic of Michel Foucault, we're not gonna. And I think a logic of Michel Foucault would include things like emulation, where still everything would be in one thing. However, there's still no, meaning or whatever. So there's still for Foucault, in a Foucauldian logic, um, there's no center, there's no main thing. So it's very different from a God set. However, everything is all connected. Where if we had like a secular set theory where there's no God set, things would just kind of level out and separate a little bit more. But then if we kind of moved it into more of a